We are feeling it in the air tonight. Let me change this topic up. Got this up from last week. As you guys know, this is Frag Logic. I'm joined by Skyless, my co-host Colin.
Howdy.
And this is episode number 14. Today we have a number of things on the plate. Going to be talking about EA and Star Wars. We got Alien Colonial Marines. Talk a little bit about that. Class action lawsuit against Gearbox and Sega. Let me see. We have Wolfenstein. What else am I missing here for today? Sims 4 announcement. Microsoft issues an internal memo for their always online stuff. And we have Splinter Cell Spies versus Mercs for anyone that's played the Splinter Cell series. I'm not a big fan, but Colin has played some. Puts it in there. Now, obviously, we're going to have our community chat topic. But let's start it off. First thing I have, you guys can hear Kylan. She wants to start the show off. She says hi to everyone. We want to start off with EA. That's what I have there first. Acquiring the rights to Star Wars franchise. Alright, to Star Wars. Alright, so for anyone that...
we talking about EA?
We talking about EA, I know. For most of you guys out there, you guys may know that LucasArts... Colin, can you move your camera down just...
You have me zoomed way in.
Do I?
Yes.
It's not me.
Yeah, on my screen I'm taking up maybe a quarter of it. I can try to adjust. I've been trying to move my head into the box for the last minute and a half, but my internet is sucking. I can't load the stream, so I can't see where I am. Let me know if I need to move 4 inches higher, and we can just avoid moving the camera altogether. I'll just sit 1,000 feet away from my screen.
No, that's fine. We'll just keep your head cam on. Anyway, EA has acquired the rights to Star Wars, the franchise, I guess, the trilogy, whatever. It's more than that now. But they bought it from Disney. Disney owned it. And they ended up laying off all of LucasArts, which was the studio that used to develop all those Star Wars games, alongside BioWare, obviously did quite a few. But in the press release, they have that DICE, Visceral, who makes, if you guys don't know who DICE is, DICE makes Battlefield. Visceral, who makes Dead Space, and BioWare, obviously, will be part of the EA studios that will be developing on Star Wars. And they're saying that it's going to be powered by the Frostbite 3 engine, which will, I'm hoping, have destructible environments, really nice character models, all that stuff. If they're using that engine. The interesting thing here is that do you see DICE really being a part of this? I feel like DICE is just in there because they're going to be using the Frostbite engine.
I don't know. I mean, what they did with Battlefield 3 going into Battlefield 4 is they actually split off a chunk of the team and they worked on all the DLC that came out. I think the last one came out, a month and a half ago, 2 months ago?
Yeah.
For Endgame. So they kind of split them up, and part of the studio did that. Part of the studio worked on Battlefield 4. So I can see them just doing the same thing, where half the studio sticks around for DLC on 4, and then the other half rolls on to crank out a quick Star Wars port. Realistically, I mean, the franchises aren't that different. Battlefront and Battlefield are pretty similar if you actually look at it. The only thing that, you have class-based combat. The only thing they really have to add is Battlefield's more on the realistic side of things. Battlefront was more kind of arcadey. So they would kind of make it more arcadey in that sense, and then you'd have the heroes, the Jedi, and be able to spawn in as Yoda and Vader and all that stuff. Really, that's the core of all they really have to do to port it over. From there, you have the different vehicles and stuff, but for the most part, the formula actually matches really closely with Battlefield.
Do you think they're going to let's say they do make a Star Wars Battlefront game and they try to mimic some of the things they've done with Battlefield, do you think we're going to have aerial combat and the TIE fighters and and all the Star Wars fleet ships and all that stuff? I mean, that would be really cool.
The only thing I'd be missing is the air combat, because I'm not sure. Is there any like major Star Wars theme where there was like TIE fighters attacking ground targets? I can't think of anything like any air units in a major fight.
There's a couple. I mean, in the movies, there's a couple in movies, but like in games, I don't know. I mean, obviously you had a couple. I can't remember if it was Return of the Jedi or the first one, when they had some aerial combat against ground units. They were more like those walking, what you
AT
call
walkers.
Yeah, AT walkers. So I don't know. I mean, there's some leeway there. I think that would. I mean, I honestly feel like that would be pretty damn cool if they took that Battlefield formula and threw it into Star Wars. It'd make for some really compelling gameplay, just because I love Star Wars lore. But that'd be nice.
It's funny because I was playing Battlefront this weekend before the announcement. Steam did a big sale. They had all their Star Wars games on sale, and picked up Star Wars Battlefront 2 for $3, I think. And it was pretty cool because from what I was reading on Reddit before the sale, there was maybe like 100 or less players on every day, which is to be expected for a game that's 8 years old.
It's really old, yeah.
So they went from that, and then the sale went on, and then all of a sudden they had 4,000 concurrent players on. And then they actually ran out of codes, and there was a big forum thread with like 2,600 replies of people trying to get the game. So the servers were popping, and I was having a lot of fun just stomping around all over the place. It's aged really well, and it's kind of surprising because, like I said, there was a lot of different parallels between Battlefront 2 and Battlefield. So I was actually saying, I think I posted on Twitter like the day before, saying that DICE needs to do this. You know, I think that they're the company that would be able to do it justice and be able to do it without like a 5-6 year dev cycle.
Yeah, I completely agree.
They can crank it out in a couple of years.
I would definitely like to see it. Now, obviously we have Visceral with Dead Space, and then you have BioWare with Star Wars Old Republic. They've been doing stuff with Star Wars for a while now, so I can kind of take them out of the picture. Now, talking about Visceral, at least, I don't know if you played. I mean, you remember I played the hell out of the Star Wars like Force Unleashed games. Do you remember me at eBash like playing those?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think Visceral will be the one that would try to take the whole lightsaber combat gameplay and take that to the next step. So I personally have only played the first Dead Space, and I only played like a level of it because Callie North was like asking me nonstop to play. I don't like horror games. Remember we talked about that first episode. I don't like the whole action horror thing, so that's not my cup of tea. But the core mechanics and core gameplay element that Visceral does with Dead Space, I feel like they could make a pretty damn good Star Wars Force Unleashed-esque game where you control a Jedi, possibly making it either, maybe you're on the dark side, maybe you're on the light side, whatever. I think that experience would be really cool as well. So I'm most excited for probably those two more so than BioWare. I mean, BioWare, they crank out really good titles every time they come up to the plate, but I've seen what they've done. You know what I mean? I really want to see what DICE, if they're actually making a game, if they're not just using the engine as a way to throw their name in there, and Visceral have to offer.
See, being not a big single player guy, like it's all about DICE for me. So I think it'd be really cool seeing the Force Unleashed type impacts with the Force stuff in Frostbite engine.
Yeah.
So you do a Force push, and all of a sudden trees are tumbling all over the place.
Yes.
Like that'd be fucking amazing.
That's one of the reasons I'm so excited.
Like, fucking Yoda versus Vader in the middle of a giant fight, just knocking down trees and shit.
Craters.
Like that'd be amazing. And it wouldn't even matter that the melee combat would probably suck. Melee combat wasn't very good in Battlefront 2 either. But I wouldn't even care because it'd just be complete carnage and mayhem. That'd be fucking awesome.
Yeah, that would be incredible. And I think when I thought about, man, they're going to use Frostbite, I was like, man, shit is gonna be blowing up all over the place. And I had the exact same mental picture as you, like someone doing a force push and like trees or whatever just clearing out of the way. I was like, man, that would be awesome. So that's probably why I'm so excited to see specifically these three studios going into it. I mean, for those of you guys that don't know what BioWare's done, I want to say they did all of the Old Republic games. It was like
they did Knights of the Old Republic.
Knights of the Old Republic. They did all of those, and then they did their MMO, which recently went free to play. And I think, Colin, you read off some statistics saying that
they've doubled their operating profits, I believe is the official term, since going free to play.
Which is pretty good because, I mean, for press early on for that game has not been very good. I actually haven't even played the game. Have you tried it out?
Yeah, I played to like maybe level 20. There was like a free weekend or something. Oh. And that was right after it released. It was alright.
Nothing, no Final Fantasy 11? It was just basically 11?
Like playing... Yeah, I mean, there's no... the MMO aspects are pretty poor at launch, which I think is what got a lot of its bad reviews. So it was kind of like you're just playing a single-player game with other people alongside you. And then it was limited because of the fact that it was an MMO and they couldn't do shit that you would normally do in a single-player game.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I might give it a whirl for maybe a weekend or so just to try it out, but from what I've seen, it's been kind of underwhelming. So, I mean, I guess hearing...
Myself, by the way, they did Knights of the Old Republic 1, but not the second one.
Not the second one? Okay.
Which was the one that most people said wasn't very good.
Oh. Oh, man. Okay. That's pretty much all we have on this. There's not too much news that has come from this on the EA side. Now, one thing that is really interesting that I want to see what happens with the project, Star Wars 1313. What the hell is the name of that game?
It was 1313.
1313? Okay. That game looked phenomenal from the footage that we saw.
There was rumors it was going to follow Boba Fett.
Right.
From what I was reading.
Yeah.
I think Visceral could easily take that and run with it.
I would love to see that game come to light because it looked amazing. And I think once people heard that LucasArts was like done, everyone's like, oh no, what's going to happen to 1313? So the fact that EA has stepped up to the plate and said, we're going to take it. And again, those three studios, that could possibly be another title that creeps up and is actually on the table again. So I am really, really itching to see what they do with that.
It seems like I didn't hear any confirmation if they were actually going to be keeping that game alive. Which is kind of weird because it seems like it was, at the very least, the bits they showed were really fleshed out and basically done. So clearly it was far along in development. So
I would say based off
but just dumping it off on another studio, that seems difficult to pull off.
Well, even still, I mean, the publicity was there, though. You know what I mean? Like, people saw it and it was like, ooh. So I would say that it's a project that already has some traction. So, I mean, why not? You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, I mean, that's pretty much it for EA. I've been looking at the chat here. I got it popped up right next to me, seeing what you guys are talking about for it. Seems like everyone is kind of excited about this, especially thinking about Frostbite. But let's go ahead.
I don't care about the RPG. I don't care about Force Unleashed 3 or whatever the fuck you want. Give me that DICE Battlefront.
I did watch. You should link your gameplay that you posted. Forewarning, the audio is out of sync with the video.
Off sync. Fuck YouTube.
But Colin just goes to town for. I've never seen him play that game, and he just whooped everybody in there.
It's like riding a bike.
All right,
Someone left a comment. Could you buy this game on Steam for me? My parents don't trust the internet.
Are you serious?
Give you TF2 stuff for free, or as a trade. Yeah, check out that gameplay video. And hell, if you want to drop the money for it, I think people are still playing because of the sale. So. If you've never played Battlefront, it's probably worth picking up and giving it a shot. It's pretty fun.
All right. Now, here's the topic that I wanted to get into. And the only Gears reference you're going to hear from me today is just now. And it's going to be in relation to Alien Colonial Marines. Now, if you guys have heard about this game, if you've played this game, it is probably one of the worst titles to release in the last 2 years from a studio with the same caliber as Gearbox. So, if you guys don't know the story, basically Gearbox and Sega, I'm going to blame it more on Gearbox, they put together some trailers and some gameplay footage that wasn't indicative of how the game actually played out on launch. So at E3 2011, everywhere else that they threw this, whatever it was, demo out to press and to everyone else in the public, they made this game look badass, awesome. People were excited for it. When people purchased the game, and I think I have the quote in this. Alright, so listen to this. Aliens Colonial Marines fiasco, with many gamers labeling it as the Xenogate conspiracy, which has resulted in the game losing nearly...
Xenogate?
Yeah.
Sorry. Go on. Xenogate.
Xenogate. Game losing nearly 65% of its player base in just 1 week. 65% of its player base was lost in the first week because the game was so incredibly shitty. Okay? And not only that, again, let me reiterate this, that they falsely, I would say, advertised, and this is where this lawsuit comes into play. They falsely advertised what the game looked like and played like to the public, and their final product was nothing like the demo that people got to get their hands on.
Which the key thing here is that the demo said in-engine footage or real game footage, so it wasn't like a lot of times whenever they show at trade shows, it's a kind of spruced up demo. Then it'll say like running on blankety blank alpha, or
so
not actually, whatever.
Exactly.
But this is like they actually advertise it as being what the game looks like.
Exactly. And after this, and I'm gonna get it cut into gears here for a second, but after this, after this lawsuit came, Sega actually slapped a message on their demo trailers or whatever now that says this does not reflect in-game footage. After this comes to light, right? So now how I'm going to tie this into gears is that a lot of people in the community, and this is a game that I played 2 days. I just rented it. I played it 2 days, okay? A lot of people in the Gears community, because they've only played 1 or 2 games, Halo, Call of Duty, Gears, they don't really get to base their assumptions on video games off of what else is in the market. So people talk about Gears of War as being, oh, it's fucking terrible, or, Gears 2, I'll give an example, is that Gears 2 being terrible. I don't personally like that game. Or Gears Judgment being terrible. And in the grand scheme of things, maybe it's not as good as the other titles in the franchise, but when they talk about the community's dying or the game is terrible, I always like to ask those people, have they really played that many games to base another developer's title versus something like Alien Colonial Marines? Now, this game is absolutely terrible. It is one of the worst games. Like, you have to play it because it's so bad. It's one of those games. So that's the only point I want to make is, like, when you talk about certain games, make sure you have a scope. You know what I mean? Make sure you're not so narrow-minded that you only know this game. This is the only game that you know. Because there are a lot of games, believe me, this community is dead. You get online, you play no one. That is the equivalent of a dead community. When you say, oh, there's 10,000 people playing this game, that's not really dead. Dead is 0. Dead is 100, maybe. This is one of those games. So back to the story, because I just get fired up when people like to talk about that. Back to the story. So this class action lawsuit is going into effect. Sega and Gearbox both have separate quotes about this. Sega says they cannot comment on specifics of an ongoing litigation, but we are confident that the lawsuit is without merit and will defend it vigorously. Gearbox says attempting to wring a class action lawsuit out of a demonstration is beyond meritless. We continue to support the game and will defend the rights of entertainers to share their works in progress without fear of frivolous litigation. All right, so I do like Gearbox's response. However, again, we want to
They
reiterate.
said it was an engine.
They
Yeah.
said it, they said this is
Like,
how the
yeah,
game
it's
was.
fine to show your in progress shit. Just label it as in
In
progress.
progress, right?
Is that really that hard?
So people got all hyped for this. A lot of the previews for this game were phenomenal from everyone. One of the things that I actually watched was a piece that IGN did called Bullshot. It was Bullshot on false advertisement, and they were talking about this particular thing. And basically, if you guys don't know what Bullshot is, and they talked about it, Penny Arcade said Bullshot is basically when a studio or publisher takes a screenshot or shows footage of a game that is not actually what the game looks like. Everyone does it. Almost everyone does it. They take a doctored screenshot. They take screenshots from PC, and then they'll show that as their trailer, but the 360 or the console versions, whatever, don't look like anything like that. That's called Bullshot. All right,
so turn up some contrast and sharpen it. Yeah.
Right. So, now there's another part of this. Now Edelson, which is I believe the firm that is holding this class action lawsuit, claims that Sega and Gearbox software needed to be held accountable for misleading gamers' promotional material, including the E3 2011 demonstration and the subsequent screenshots from E3 build that did not actually exist as a distributable product. Worse yet, the ongoing charges of embezzlement. Now, here's where stuff gets interesting.
I think heard about this.
Sega and Gearbox have something going on where one of the... Do I have this linked? I can pull it up. They can't sue Gearbox over embezzlement, says a Sega employee. And let me see who it was. I got a pop-up here. Randy Pitchford is who is to court over fraud and embezzlement charges. So again, there's a whole bunch of mess with this, right? So you think Gearbox, and here's what gets me, Colin. You think Gearbox. What do you think?
Duke Nukem.
What else? What's their big game? Borderlands, right? Everyone loves Gearbox because of Borderlands. This hits them, and they are like one of the worst studios out right now. In a matter of 6 months, Borderlands 2 came out in September. Alien Colonial Marines came out in February. And like they are under the bus now. Like it is incredibly bad for them right now from a public standpoint.
And it wasn't really even their game.
It wasn't really their game, right?
It's Timegate.
So this is just turned into an absolute mess from top to bottom. They have this article goes on: financial mismanagement, political office infighting, and blame gaming that followed the initial controversy. That's all in that quote from Edelson LLC, again the firm that is holding this class action lawsuit. That's craziness. All right, so for me, I kind of want to elaborate a little bit more on this and talk about the whole bullshot thing on a broader scale. I can't really think of too many games where I've played a demo and the game hasn't looked. I guess there was Riptide, Dead Island Riptide, which I guess there's a couple people I saw on Twitter that were talking about the demonstrations that they made at PAX were not anything like the game. Like the game has been given some really bad reviews. And one of the things that was brought up with IGN is that when you go to these demos, like you have your team crunch, and they called it a vertical slice. I don't know what we call it at our studio. We just call it crunch time and demo. But in the industry standard, it's called a vertical slice, where they take a segment of your game that they want to be a demo, and they polish that as much as they possibly can, basically to get it out for that demo.
The idea is usually that that's actually the standard for the rest of your game. So
exactly,
you would polish that up, and then you would bring everything else to meet it. You wouldn't like tone it back from there. It would stay that way on release. But
it doesn't always pan out like that. And what IGN mentions, I'm going to mention them several times because this is verbatim from them, the vertical slice thing, and talking about this in the industry. And I can just say, yes, this is a common practice. They were talking about okay, so you make this demo for, PAX or an E3 or wherever else that you're going to show off the game, but then you get into the actual game where you start expanding things, and then you're met with technical limitations of whatever console you're on. So you have to cut back stuff, you have to take out features, you have to go through that whole design process. So that's why, people like to say that demos aren't necessarily indicative of the final product. Now, the only thing I really think is an issue here is they didn't label it. If they just labeled it, then it would have been completely different. But I felt like from this particular instance that they wanted this to be the final product, showed it off as the final product, and just thought, hey, we can do this for the rest of the game, and that wasn't the case.
Yeah, it seems like they just phoned it in. And then tried to backpedal off of everything. I'm sure someone had the wool pulled over their eyes at some point, but it's not really clear what happened.
So, who are you rooting for here? The devs or the people?
I don't really care.
This could have effects on the industry. Seriously, if Sega and
everyone should be labeling their shit. So I mean, it's like, if anything, TimeGate's probably the one to blame. And are they even a company anymore? I thought that was what led to all this.
Possibly not. I don't think so.
Yeah, bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just had to search it. So, I mean, they were the actual developers, and I don't think the people are going to get anything out of it. It's not like class action lawsuits end up paying.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's going to get $2.
You get $2 check in the mail if you sign up. So it's like, it's too late to do anything. Really, it's just a matter of keeping it from happening in the future. And most developers already know that you put in progress on your build.
Right.
So, I mean, just bad management.
So part of me wants to root for the people. The other side is like, man, if the people won, then that would be really bad for the gaming industry, because you have shit like the Mass Effect thing, where people are like, oh my god, the ending is so bad, oh wow, change it. And it's like, what? This is what we want to develop. This is our picture of the story. It's not your picture of the story. This is our picture of the story. And you buy into it at the beginning, you build up, but this is our story. So
there's a difference between creative freedom and fraudulent marketing.
I'm just saying, where does the line stop? You're gonna be able to complain about anything and just I'm gonna just complain about this because I thought the ending was misleading. I know. I'm being
I'll
devil's
stand up for
advocate.
creative freedom all day. Fraudulent marketing, while shitty and needs to stop, I don't think it's a widespread issue yet. Yet. Who knows?
I think with the rise of free-to-play games that there's some stuff
free-to-play there's kind of a gray area.
Yeah.
Especially like when you have a game that's been in alpha or beta and they're accepting orders ahead of time.
Yeah. So, what's the game that
for
came?
example,
War Z?
Minecraft is actually a good example.
War Z is also another good one.
Yeah.
So
just about any game where they accept payments up front. I think Kerbal Space Program, indie game, had an issue with that where they said that all updates would be free, and then they announced the DLC, and they're like, yeah, this would be paid DLC down the road. And then everyone put up a fit, and then they said, yeah, never mind, we won't do that.
Yeah, that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
No, we're not going to do that.
So, I mean, sometimes you get into that where fraudulent marketing and plans changing kind of screw over the customers, but I don't think it's a major issue currently. It's just one instance of, and really it was graphical stuff more so than gameplay stuff.
So here's one more devil's advocate. Let's say you buy a game like SimCity and they have a terrible launch. They take away the features in the game just to make it work.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Sega loses. What happens to Sims?
And in the end, I think people won't buy SimCity or won't buy it as much. As many people won't buy it, is what I'm trying to get for. Right. And I think that they lost sales with SimCity 3 as well. So.
Okay. All right.
And the reaction, I think, has led to them changing their stance on Sims 4, which we can probably lead.
We can go right into
professional segue.
Did you like how I set that up? That was so awesome.
So yeah, Sims 4 made their announcement. It's going to be a single-player game, offline. I think that was the extent of the announcement.
So basically, where this comes from is
That was pretty much it, right? Like
that's it. I mean, that's pretty much it.
Preview article. It was just like, yep, Sims 4 coming soon. It's offline and single player.
Yeah. So
As if they just wanted to like lay people's concerns to rest from the get-go.
right. So basically, EA, being
2014
EA,
release. Yeah.
they had a bad release with SimCity, and because of the DRM and not being prepared, I guess is the word for it. Would you say they weren't prepared? I don't think the game was technically ready for.
They had to have known that they would get slammed.
I don't know. I mean, technically, like there's some stuff that they had to take away because the game wasn't ready. So it just led to just a whole mess for a launch of a game, and so I think that's probably what led to this. Just them announcing it, saying, "Hey, Sims 4 is offline. Don't worry, guys." Just so people are like, "Okay, I'm gonna buy this because they said it's completely offline," or I'm not going to buy this because EA screwed me. So I think they just had to make a call on it.
Yeah, I mean, they've already proven out a successful business model with Sims to the point where I don't think they need to experiment at all. Like, they made bank with the 15 to 20 expansion packs they released for Sims. And really, you aren't even buying the full game because they're going to release all these different add-ons and pieces and parts for your house and your Sim. So I think that they know they can make the money elsewhere. And they don't need to put like strict DRM or always online requirements.
Right.
And if the game gets pirated, then they're just gonna miss out on a ton of content. So
That's true.
I don't think that they were worried about Sims being unsuccessful in any capacity.
You know what? We need to talk about.
It's a really safe bet.
We need to talk about pirating in an episode because that's the crux of why all of this shit is coming to light anyway. Is people feel like pirating and used game sales is the other one. Is kind of eating into game dev money, publisher money. So that's a topic we probably bring up. What's up, Truck Boy? It's a topic we're probably going to bring up another episode. But
yeah,
I think that'd be really interesting.
Are you ready for another segue? Mine's about to be blown.
Okay.
So another company that's affected by piracy and that recently made a change to their modus operandi. Is that where I was going for? Fuck, I was trying to go all fancy and then I didn't do it right.
I think it's I don't know. I don't know that's is how you say it.
Yeah. Anyways, another company that changed their thing is Microsoft. Well, potentially. They potentially changed their thing. They leaked an internal memo leaked this week, which I think was intentionally leaked, which was saying it was a notice to all employees that the Xbox does not require always online, and that you'd be able to do what you'd expect to be able to do when offline. That was their wording. What you'd expect to be able to do. So, I don't know about you, but I don't often get memos from my work whenever you're keeping the exact same policy that you've had before, right?
What like, doesn't make sense to me is like, why would it be internal? Like, hey guys, don't worry. You guys are working on this.
They're trying to get everyone's PR speak in the right direction before their announcement, so that there's no confusion. And then I think it was leaked on purpose.
But everyone knew, yeah. It was like, we know that it's offline, so why are you sending an internal memo? Oh, you want us to leak it? Oh, okay, we got that.
So I think that my suspicion is that before there was some always online stuff, or they're redefining what you'd expect to be able to do in that sense.
Right.
So, oh man, my head is gone. Covered up my head?
I didn't cover up your head.
You did. Skype's covered up my head. I'm looking at it.
There we go.
Never can get that movie deal like this.
Is your head frozen now? It's frozen.
Killing my movie career. And you killed my head?
I killed it.
Oh, fuck. Alright, I'm just going to ignore it. It's all out of position anyways. So, I think they changed. The big question is, will you be able to buy a game, come home, have your Xbox offline, and just be able to pop it in and play? Because I would expect to be able to do that when I'm offline. I would expect to be able to do that offline. You know what I mean? I'd expect to be able to buy a game and put it in my console and play it. But what they could do is they could be like Steam and require you to register or authorize first. So you have to do like an online check and then you'd be able to play it offline.
Yeah, like sign in and yeah.
Yeah. So I think that that's what they might end up doing as their means of DRM or copy protection.
Listening to us fuel the rumor mill here.
I mean, that's my suspicion. I think that the way they worded that is a bit strange.
That's
all I'm saying.
It is.
What you'd expect to be able to do is kind of vague.
Let's read the exact quote here. I'm going to let you read it.
Okay. The Durango is designed to deliver the future of entertainment while engineered to be tolerant of today's internet. There are a number of scenarios that our users expect to work without an internet connection, and those should just work, in quotes, regardless of their current connection status. Those include, but are not limited to, playing a Blu-ray disc, watching live TV, and yes, playing a single-player game. So, just work is kind of weird, and there are a number of scenarios that our users expect to work without internet connection.
Yeah.
Like when they say everything will be able to work without internet connection.
There are a number of scenarios.
Yeah. Like, we accounted for these 3 scenarios in a few different ways.
Yeah, that is worded very carefully. It's definitely marketing bullshit, but...
This also stealth confirms that they'll be using Blu-ray, which I think would have been expected.
Yeah.
And watching live TV was speculated in a lot of ways. Supposedly it's supposed to use like an HDMI plug-in in the back. And that'll be it. I'm
pretty interested in the watching live TV thing here. Because, we've talked about them trying to go the whole entertainment box route, which they've basically done over the course of the 360's life. It's just turned it into an entertainment system. And kind of taking away the shift on games, which is what we kind of tied to how indie developers felt that they were approached and dealt with by Microsoft. So this is a very interesting scenario here. I'm definitely keeping my eyeballs on this. We are exactly 2 weeks out from their announcement conference, whatever the hell you guys want to call it. May 21st is when that will be.
Yep.
Colin said it's in the morning.
It's 10 Pacific.
10 Pacific. A.M.?
Yep, it's 10 a.m.
10 a.m. Pacific time.
So we'll be able to do a show that night talking about the conference.
We'll probably dedicate the show to that conference just like we did with the Sony press conference. Yep. So, if any more news decides to surface within the next week, we'll talk about that again. Because a lot of people are wanting us to hit up this Durango Xbox 720 talk because, we have a lot of console guys. So we'll make sure that we try to hit that up.
It's going to be streamed on Xbox.com. It's going to be on Spike TV as well.
Hopefully Twitch.
I'm sure someone will restream it on Twitch.
All right,
I highly doubt they would shut down free marketing.
Let me switch topics. Let's go to the chat topic here.
Here, I'm going to call you back.
Okay. Colin wants his camera fixed.
And hopefully it fixes the camera.
It does, except I have a pop-up. There we go. I'll move that. It didn't fix your camera.
Yeah, I have no idea then. It's just on your end. It's fine for me. No, I'm moving.
No, I'm talking about... Oh.
No, the size.
Yeah, the size of your head. Big head.
That's
big head mode. No, it's not.
I guarantee you.
Nope. All right, chat topic.
My big head? You can't see my big head? All right.
I said big head mode.
Uh-huh.
It is. That's all you see. Colin's head is defrosted.
Audio is low now? It's that same thing, yeah. You know what to do.
I do know what to do, but I think the volume is at max from last time. Let's check this volume mixer. Wow. Dude, it reset. That is incredible.
You got it fixed?
Yeah, I fixed it.
All right.
It reset.
Anyways, chat topic is that my mic is low. Issue solved. Moving on.
All right. So, chat topic. You guys know the deal. What do you guys want us to kind of talk about? Call of Duty Ghosts, an exclusive on Xbox.
I haven't seen that anywhere.
You didn't? I didn't see that at all. I didn't actually talk about Call of Duty Ghosts at all. We could bring that up towards the end of the show, but
I don't think there's much to talk about until we
we
see
saw
gameplay.
a trailer with masks
Yeah.
and no game footage.
It's just another Call of Duty. That's it.
Iron Man 3. Defiance TV show. Haven't seen it.
I haven't touched that game.
Haven't touched the game either. I heard
I've heard from some people that it wasn't very good.
It's kind of sloppy, which is exactly what I said. I was looking at the footage that I saw from that, and I've gotten to the point now where I look at a third-person shooter specifically, and I can tell if the controls aren't very tight based off of like the gameplay that you see in game. And that one, like the controls just look terrible. What is Fortnite about? Fortnite to me seems like it's going to be a Minecraft-esque game.
That's accurate. It's during the day you build whatever you want. It's supposed to be like a fort type deal with a bunch of other players, and then at night monsters attack and you have to kind of defend, and then you spend the next day repairing and building up your base again. And pretty high customization. I watched a gameplay video where they were building stuff, and it seemed actually pretty intuitive and fast. Fast as far as building.
Right.
It's pretty cool.
You sure it wasn't sped up?
No, it wasn't.
Okay. Because I was going to say, if I saw that same video that you're talking about, I thought the speed was kind of like 125.
This was actual playthrough. You might have seen the trailer where they sped up like a base building.
What? You saw a playthrough? Why didn't you link anybody? Where's
It
that?
was really old.
Maybe I must have seen it then.
Find it.
Oh,
It was
I
like-
thought you were talking about new then.
It's
I
like
probably
maybe
seen
15
it.
minutes. It was at some conference or other.
Okay, I probably seen it. Does it have a release date? I have not seen a release date anywhere on Fortnite. Is it Team Fortress style animations? Do you mean
art is pretty
art
similar,
design? Yeah, it's very similar. Animations, I wouldn't count as being.
It really is just
same,
similar in the
same.
sense that it's cartoony with bright colors.
Yeah.
Patrice Desilets was fired from Ubisoft today. Yeah, I was telling Kayla about that earlier, and it's funny because
I read the article too.
he was working for Ubisoft before, quit, went to THQ, was heading up THQ on some new projects. Then THQ went under, and Ubisoft bought them, the studio there. And then he ended up working for Ubisoft again, and then he just got fired today.
Then they walked over
And
to
then
his
this morning
desk.
they're like, yeah, he left on good terms. And then like later in the day he responded, fuck no. I'm going to fight this
I'm gonna
shit out
fight
of him.
this.
So there wasn't really any details on why he got fired or why he didn't want to work there. I mean, pretty clearly it was kind of amicable, but they didn't even let him say bye to his team.
Polygon
like,
has
escorted him out.
Polygon has the quote from him. I'll read it for you guys because it's pretty funny. The funny thing is about
maybe he
that.
just didn't want to make Assassin's Creed games every year like they've been cranking out.
That's probably what it is. He was the creative director, that's pretty significant. I mean, that's like the highest you can go in design as a creative director. So he was Ubisoft's creative director and then left to be THQ's. Let me see. I think he was a creative director for THQ. Exactly. Yeah, same. So.
Which basically makes him the owner of the entire brand.
This is what
Assassin's Creed.
This is what they said. Welcome 100%, including Patrice to our existing renowned workforce. Okay, so the acquisition of THQ Montreal in January allowed Ubisoft to welcome 170 experienced developers, including Patrice, to our existing and renowned workforce. Unfortunately, since the acquisition, the good faith discussions between Patrice and Ubisoft aimed at aligning Patrice's and the studio's visions have been inconclusive. As a result, Patrice has left the studio. Our priorities remain with the teams already hard at work on projects in development. That makes no sense. They are at the root of Ubisoft Montreal's past and future successes.
Yeah.
And he responds saying, Ubisoft's actions are baseless and without merit. I intend to fight Ubisoft vigorously for my rights, for my team, and my game.
After saying he was escorted by 2 guards, couldn't say bye to his team or collect his stuff.
So yeah, that's a really weird scenario. But it sounds like he got the shaft.
Has to impact the team like a ton.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be pretty upset. Assuming he wasn't letting you do that. I don't know him, so.
Yeah, I've never met him. Don't know him.
But yeah, that was pretty big news from today.
Okay, let me see. Anything else? What do you think about Saints Row 4?
Be able to attack people with 2 dildos?
How about Rod Ferguson taking up the VP job for BioShock's dev, and now he's gone as of a few weeks ago? I didn't even see that.
He left right after Infinite shipped.
Did he?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I mean, I assume that was his plan all along. I imagine he just hopped on. He wanted to work with those guys. Is probably all it was.
Yeah.
I think all those Epic execs and the top level guys have saved up enough where it's like,
I could go do whatever. I could go on an island.
Yeah, it's just passion projects, you know.
Yeah. Do you see anything else that you want to hit up, and then we'll switch to the last 2?
Yeah, we can go on.
All right.
We're going to Wolfenstein. Yeah, they released a trailer today and a little bit of information, not much.
What is that?
I'll link the trailer in chat, since I imagine some people
title of this game. Wolfenstein: The New Order. Okay.
The New Order.
Really generic. Whatever.
It's coming into PC, PS3, Xbox, and next-gen consoles.
I can't now. I played Wolfenstein on Xbox, the original Xbox. Sounds right. Way back in the day. And I had a really good time with the game. A lot of the old school competitive guys that are out. Well, I don't know if there's too many of them still playing, but like Cloud from TLR. Maybe Cream might have played it. Some of the guys from Type Z. They were all involved with that game early on.
You're talking about Tides of War, it was, right?
Tides of War, yeah.
So it was in enemy territory, which I think is what most people associate Wolfenstein with.
Which is the first one. I didn't play that one.
Was Tides of War based off enemy territory? I didn't play that. Enemy territory was the PC mod.
Yeah, the one I played was Tides of War. I don't know anything about enemy territory. I didn't play that one at all. So, for me, that was really good times. Gameplay was phenomenal. The only thing is, and this is where I kind of am like over it, is Call of Duty, and was it Medal of Honor? Call of Duty, I know at least, ran the Nazi stuff for me into the ground. Like, I am tired of that. And Wolfenstein is, if for you guys that don't know the story, is basically the same thing. I mean, it's Nazis. I think the setting in this is almost 20 years after the reign of the Nazi regime. I'll call it the reign, whatever. And it's set in the 1960s. So I don't know what, maybe they are super powerful now and they like ripped up the United States and all the democratic nations. What, I don't know. But that's the setting. And I saw that you have in here Warren Spector is ripping on the game on Facebook.
Yeah.
Was he really?
Let me get the quote. I should have copied it. I forgot to copy it. So Warren Spector is the guy who made Deus Ex, the original. And then he also, most recently, has been working with Epic Mickey.
Okay.
So his quote... Really, I don't think... I should preface this by saying I don't think he's in a position to make these comments. His quote is, "Did the world really need another Wolfenstein game? Do we need another generically dark, monochromatic FPS kill the Nazi giant robot game? First, I should know that I can't name any other kill the Nazi giant robot game." And he said, no, the world did not. I'm so tired of stuff like this."
Kill the robot?
Said,
Oh, he's still going?
yeah, this is still going. Oh, and can we all just agree to never use the generic gravelly whisper voice trailer guy voice ever again? And one more thing, please stop using Jimi Hendrix to promote your adolescent male power fantasies. Thank you, I'm done.
Oh, wow. That's
This is from the guy who made Epic Mickey. Just laying down the smack. I mean, it's like, personally to me, like, Wolfenstein without the Nazi robot theme wouldn't be Wolfenstein.
right.
As far as like the generically dark, monochromatic, I guess there's an argument there. In the sense that it's just kind of like a
Brown and green.
like a slick, like almost future-looking graphics. Even though it's set in 1965,
1960s. It just says 1960s.
Okay. And of course, the Nazis now have a robot army. From looking at the trailer.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I like I said, I'm pretty much tired of the whole Nazi storyline. Like, go to something else. Go to Nam. Go to the Korean War. Hell, go to feudal times. Like, I don't care. Just like stop with the Nazis stuff. Like, I
almost prefer the Nazis to terrorists at this point.
Yeah, I mean that's
they're
overdone
kind of in the
as
same
well.
boat, like,
but that's an ongoing war that we're like currently fighting. We're not. I don't know. I just feel like the Nazi stuff has been run into the ground, and I honestly am not interested. Like Wolfenstein, when someone says Wolfenstein to me, I'm like, damn, I had some really good times on that game. I also had really good times on Unreal Tournament, really good times on Quake. And if someone was like, hey, Unreal Tournament is coming back, I'd be like, really? That's interesting. I might try that out. And Wolfenstein, I don't have that because the story is just played out to me. Go to space, fight some aliens. We need more aliens to make up for alien colonial marines.
Just it requires so much more work and imagination to create a sci-fi game.
The issue is
everyone just keeps going back to that.
Yeah, the issue is like I think that because there was no greater picture in our current time than good versus evil, that is like a very easy storyline to hit up. Like, Nazis are portrayed and generally seen in the public based off of their acts as evil. So it's like, that's an easy storyline, plus there's guns in that time period anyway, to use that as, hey, we could throw a shooter together, let's make some Nazis. I'm just sick of it though.
I love the fact he's using like a chain gun to take down robots, like big metal plated robots with thick steel. I don't know if you saw like the screenshots or anything, but like,
yeah,
it's like fully thick steel, and he's standing there with a double barrel shotgun. Like,
I saw the screenshots when Bethesda leaked it, or not leaked it. They posted the pictures on Twitter.
Yeah. So I mean, it's probably gonna be fast paced, just kind of like a fun romp. I'm really interested to see what they do with multiplayer though, to see if they go back to the kind of class based roots, or if they kind of do it like they did the last 360 game, where it was kind of it's pretty generic, from what I remember playing.
Yeah.
I think you would agree. I only played like 5 or 6 games because it was boring.
That's it?
I think so. I was playing for free at eBash, so.
I played a lot. So.
I mean, it's just kind of generic. You just kind of run around and shoot people.
Yeah.
The weapons didn't feel unique or good in any way, and the classes didn't mean anything. Which is one of the good things about Enemy Territory, which I played probably good like 40, 50 hours all. I was playing like way after its prime, but the classes all felt individually useful, you know?
Right.
So that's my 2 cents. I hope they do something cool with multiplayer, because we can use some different multiplayer games versus the Call of Duty formula.
Yeah, they definitely had that aspect of it. Next game, I'm going to go ahead and transition into this because we're getting close to that 9 o'clock mark, is Splinter Cell Spies versus Mercs, the dev commentary.
The Com Dev, as they called it.
The Com Dev.
And I'll post that in chat. And I'll also post a link to the trailer, which was released last week.
Was it Spies
maybe
vs. Mercs?
Wednesday. Yeah. Oops.
I don't know how many Splinter Cell fans are there in the watching the stream right now.
That's a good question. There has to be some people who play the Xbox version. Shit, was it Chaos Theory?
Chaos Theory.
That was the big popular one. I played, I think, Pandora's Tomorrow was the one we did for the tournament.
LeGrew, Elite, Menasher says he loves Conviction.
See, Conviction didn't have Spies vs. Mercs, though. It was Double Agent that I played.
Vibrant says he really likes it. Lee says he loves Tom Clancy games. Okay. Ewan Light, Double Agent. I think I played Double Agent.
Double Agent was the one I did for the tournament, so you probably played it a little bit.
I probably played that one a little bit. Yeah, that's the one that sounds familiar.
Pandora Tomorrow and Chaos Theory were the ones that introduced Spies vs. Mercs and made it pretty popular.
Okay.
I don't think I played I think I might have played a little bit of Chaos Theory. I always try to play those games with Sean and co-op Wraith, for those that know who he is, and he's like the worst spy in the history of. Like, we'd be sitting there and I'd be looking through a field and I'd see like the 4 cameras and the 3 guards patrolling, and he would just completely fuck it up every single time. Until we quit playing. I think we never got past like the very first co-op mission.
The very first one?
The very first co-op mission. And when it took us 4 hours to get inside the door from the outside courtyard. Then we get inside the door and like he sets off an alarm and it leads to us dying. And then it's like, okay, let's switch games. I'll make Dynasty Warriors real quick. It's just like the absolute worst spy. So I didn't get to play those, and I didn't have Xbox Live at the time. But Spies vs. Mercs and Double Agent was really fun. I actually played for a 3v3 tournament, so we did lots of practice and scrimming and stuff. And it's
I think we lost that to Type D.
Yeah, I think we did. Just rub it in.
Yeah, that's just one I remember. In case anyone wants.
I was playing handicap lineup. That's all I'll say.
The less dedicated members of our team.
Yeah, less dedicated members of VBI. So, but yeah, like I think that the mode itself is probably one of the most interesting and innovative modes from any multiplayer, in the sense of it's different. You know, it's asymmetric.
Right.
You have to think before you shoot, which is one of the lines they used during the video. Was we want you to have to think before you shoot, and I think that's a good definition of what Spies vs. Mercs is.
From the gameplay that I saw, the trailer that I saw, by the way, is just absolute trash. It's horseshit. Like it's terrible trailer.
Dev?
No, not the comm dev. The trailer, the actual trailer that you linked to me in Skype chat.
Too much action. It was just like
it was terrible. But
it was just random shit.
The gameplay from the comm dev thing looked really good, and I'm kind of interested to see how that plays off. Me and you might be able to do some 2v2 stuff in there, because I'm not a terrible spy. But we'll
That's
see.
one of the things. Like I've probably ranted about this before, but 2v2 is really an untapped market in the shooter realm. Like,
was Army of Two?
Yeah, it wasn't multiplayers. I mean, like, so on Xbox, historically, you've had tons of co-op games that have been really successful just because of co-op. Like, dating back even to like early Xbox games, people bought them just because of the co-op. So 2v2 and multiplayers makes sense. You almost always have at least one friend to hop on with you, right? Like, most people have at least one friend.
One friend, yeah.
That they play games with, or else it's really hard to get into games because you're playing by yourself all the time. So, I mean, like, most times there's at least one. So it's enough that you can get a match going and you can work together. And Spies vs. Mercs especially encourages the co-op play and coordinating your attacks.
The interesting thing about 2v2, and, you know, Gears had it with Wingman. So there's one.
Yeah.
But I know exactly what you mean there. You just mean like not like everything when you just port something and it's not it's like a completely different experience. But what 2v2 allows for is like smaller numbers. So like even if the game doesn't do exceptionally well in terms of like having a multiplayer scene, that in itself, because it's 2v2, means that the likelihood of there being people to play is really high. it's almost like having a free for all or 1v1 type scenario. And I feel like, you know, we're probably going to have to talk on this a little bit. 1v1s are really, really undermarketed in terms of shooter space at this point in time.
Yeah, just Quake that was keeping it
Just
alive.
Quake, yeah. So that would be another one, though. But I, from the gameplay that I saw, I feel like that is probably one of the more tactical games that I would be interested in playing. Never really got into Double Agent the way I should have because we already had a team set, and I was like, we must have been practicing something else.
I think you were doing Gears.
I was probably doing
No, wait,
Gears.
it's 06. It was before Gears.
It was before Gears, so we were
what the hell
playing.
you were doing? You had no excuse.
Call of Duty or Battlefield. I was probably playing Call of Duty because that's 06 is when I went.
Oh, you know what? They were doing that tournament.
Ghost
You guys
Recon.
Oh, you think it was Ghost?
WSVG 2006 was
I guess so.
me and Danny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so we were
had,
probably playing Ghost Recon.
Yeah, I had Sean playing with me.
So,
Yeah, I
yeah.
had the worst spy ever on my team. I told you I had a GIMP lineup. Like, it's him and I think Invictus who just rages.
You guys are playing Type Z.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, man, no, I'm angry.
But,
But yeah, so they showed Classic, that's 2v2, and then 4v4 was the same mode as Spies vs. Mercs, but it's 4v4, and they add a bunch of gadgets, which I think, from the video, it looked like they kind of ruined the mode.
it
Because
looked
there was
like Call of Duty.
The dude, like, sent off a flying drone that flew off and killed the spy that was in an event.
The interesting...
Like, what's the point? Like, the whole point is that you creep around as the spy, and then you make your move. And you can just fly a little RV car up into the vents and kill him? Like...
I saw that, and
What's
I
the
was
point?
like... I was just like, oh, man. Call of Duty is just making it just so terrible with these kill streak shit. Like, ugh. But
It's probably like a Team Slayer version of Spies vs. Mercs, really.
They showed a couple different abilities and gadgets, and like you, I remember one where you like threw down a mine or something like that. But the only one I vividly remember is the specific drone, because it's like, man, that's Call of Duty shit right there.
Yeah.
So that's the one that sticks out the most. But I'm sure there's a ton of other things that we just didn't get a chance to see. But that one just was like, ugh. And my exact comment to Colin after I saw that was like, are they really incorporating Call of Duty kill streak shit in this game for the 4v4 mode? So
That's
yeah.
it looks like Classic is fun, the 2v2. But what I'm concerned about is the map size being catered towards 4v4 instead.
Yeah. So, that's the pretty much the end of the show today. I'm gonna go ahead and take some questions. And someone asked, "Do we have any Gears talk?" We did, just a little bit.
I'm supposed to be on Active Reload tomorrow along with Kale.
Yeah.
So if you want to watch that,
That's dedicated to Gears. So I'm looking in the chat. Arctic, please talk about this.
Time Splitters free to play on PC.
That's nice.
I never liked Time Splitters.
You didn't?
No, I
It
know.
was a decent game.
I know Phobos is really big on it.
Yeah, it was. I actually think I played with Phobos because he's the one that was trying to get me to play. Him and I played a little bit of multiplayer.
And then the 360 version was horrendous. Like, I can't remember what the title of that game was, but it was just awful.
Where's Capital? Kappa? I have no idea.
Never played DayZ. Don't really plan to. It's not my thing.
Arma 3 Alpha? No, I don't play any DayZ. Although I am interested in trying out. What's the studio that is developing the DayZ actual game? I don't know the name of it. I'm interested in playing whatever they actually make that turns into a game.
I mean, it was made by someone who works for the company that makes Arma.
Okay.
So it makes sense that it would be.
What is your rant going to be about tomorrow?
Yeah. Both of them are Bohemia. The mod is made by just one guy, though, so.
I don't know what I'm going to talk about tomorrow yet. I got to look at our itinerary.
I need to hop on and play some, just so I have something to say. I haven't touched the game in several weeks.
You're terrible.
No. Much better off for it.
How's the fighting game training going? I am coming along. I'm coming along. Say that. I can't chain together combos really well with my specials. I am playing. I have my spacing, timing, like pokes and stuff. I'm really good at that. My rushdown is pretty good. Not great. It's above average, so I'd say between good and above average is where I'm sitting at with my rushdown techniques. I'm actually pretty competent against a lot of different players. It's just a matter of me being able to execute combos. And I've been playing with my controller while I wait for my Razor Fight sticks to come in. So it's going to be a whole different story once I get that in, I'm sure.
Sure.
No, I'm saying in terms of how my progress is going.
Oh,
Like,
okay. I
I'm
thought you
gonna.
meant like your gameplay.
Oh, my
is gonna
gameplay is gonna
evolve
be
another
so
level.
phenomenal. No, it's actually the opposite. Like, I remember switching from default to alternate on Gears, and like the first. Do you remember how bad I was struggling the first like month with mispresses and saying, "Oh, I hit the wrong button," and
Awful.
it's gonna be bad. But I'm working on it. I was telling you guys that I'm pretty. When I get into a game and I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. So, believe you me, this is my introductory. I've already told some of the guys at the studio now I'm gonna go ahead and get Street Fighter 4. So, I'm pretty hardcore about it. When is the 1v1 coming? It's all on Skyless. I've thrown it out there. He doesn't even own the game.
Yeah. Whenever I'm over there again. I don't know when that'll be.
Who am
I'm
I
not gonna play
using?
on mine. Fuck that shit. I have to get the game and then have to play.
Right now my main is Shazam. I have 5 gameplays total, 1 Flash, 4 Shazam, or might be 6. And then I have another video coming out here soon, but they're all on my YouTube channel. It's called the Sparring Lab. You guys can actually just search the. You can search that in YouTube, and it should come up. Are you going to stream it? Funny thing is, I have accidentally streamed the game a couple times, but I really want to stream my fight stick play because I want to have a camera down on the fight stick and have some stuff playing with that for content. But I've streamed accidentally a couple times, so some people have seen me play and I didn't even know it. But I mean, I have no problem streaming the gameplay, but I really don't want to with the controller. I really want to use the fight stick for it.
Seems like we're good, right?
Yeah.
See anything else? So I'll have to see what topics come up for next week, and then the week after that we'll be doing Durango announcement wrap up.
Yeah.
Extravaganza. Palooza.
The Palooza?
Yeah.
That sounds like Zach. The Halo 4 Palooza, whatever. Halo 3.
I'm expecting to have some good stuff to talk about. As well as we can start to give our initial thoughts on what we're getting.
Yeah.
Because right now I'm leaning towards Sony, so we'll see if Microsoft can win me back.
I'm going to be out of a lot of money in the holiday season.
Yeah, I'll probably end up buying both, but I really shouldn't.
Why? We
This would
have
be expensive.
I have both right now. Like, yeah, it's gonna be expensive. I have both right now, but like, I feel
never
like that's
bought a
the only way you
PlayStation.
can do it.
I never bought a PlayStation.
I have both. I'm
Still
just
don't
saying.
have one.
I feel like that's the only way you can do it. The reason I got a PlayStation though was because of the Blu-ray. Like, it was the cheapest Blu-ray at the time.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just played my God of War at eBash. That was all I needed. So.
If MS has streaming ability, would you still lean towards Sony? That'll be the last question.
Yeah, it depends on if they gate it, like with a bunch of ridiculous restrictions, like Microsoft tends to do.
Yeah. My sentiments
Streaming
are
on
the
Ustream
exact
would
same.
suck though. So
I don't
no
want
matter
to stream
what, I'll
on
be streaming
Ustream.
on my PC through
Yeah.
Twitch. Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're on a console and you're streaming from the console through your computer, I run 2 different lines and my console's on a separate line. So for me, it's like, it doesn't matter to me. But it'd be nice for everyone else.
That's a good point. The Xbox controller is probably the only thing that is really like my big hesitant thing because I really hate the PlayStation controller for shooters.
You can use the Mad Cats.
Yeah, I could use my Mad Cats, which I also don't really care for. It's really rigid.
Well, that's better than nothing. Well, actually,
And I have to
we
buy
don't
new
even know
Mad
if they'll be
Cats.
compatible.
Yeah, I mean, I have to buy a new one for, yeah.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be because of the extra bar and shit, I
Yeah.
would think.
So
So I mean, maybe Razer will pump out a cross-plat controller.
That would be nice.
Be nice.
That would be very nice.
But yeah, like that probably is the single biggest thing is the controller because my hands actually starting to hurt holding a PlayStation controller. So
yeah, we'll see. But I hope you guys enjoy the show. We will be back next week, same time, same place, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Tuesdays. And Colin and I will see you guys later.
Thanks for watching, guys.